Understanding stock options. What are stock options? You probably know what a stock, share of a company is. In the simplest of terms, a single share represents a solitary unit of ownership of a company. Companies offer their shares for sale to raise capital for themselves, and such shares, also referred to as equities, are listed and traded in a stock exchange. In a stock exchange, many high-profile shares that trade in huge volumes may also have derivatives associated with them. A derivative is a contract between two or more parties in which the contract derives its value from an underlying security such as a stock or an index. The most commonly traded derivatives in the stock market are futures and options. They are also commonly referred to as FANDO. Futures contracts are relatively easier to understand when compared to options, but they carry more risk and are less flexible. Nevertheless, an option is defined as a type of contract, sold by one party to another that gives the buyer of the option, the right, but not the obligation, to buy or to sell the underlying stock at a predetermined price. Options cannot exist indefinitely, and every option has an expiry date. The option buyer of a specific option may have a right to exercise his/her option only at the time of expiry of the option, or he/she may have a right to exercise the option at any point in time till the date of expiry, depending on whether the option follows European or American convention, elaborated a little later in this book. Note: derivatives can also be based on various other underlying securities such as commodities. However, all examples and scenarios are limited to options trading based on underlying stocks and indices only. Types of options. There are fundamentally two different types of options. They are: 1. Call options. These options give the buyer the right to buy the underlying security at a fixed price. 2. Put options. These options give the buyer the right to sell the underlying security at a fixed price. The most important thing to know here is that in the case of a call option, the buyer of the option can only start profiting from that option when the value of the underlying stock index goes up. On the other hand, in the case of a put option, the buyer of the option can only start profiting when the value of the underlying stock index goes down. European-style and American-style expiries. There are two different conventions that are followed globally when it comes to exercising an option. 1. European-style expiry. Call options and put options following the European-style expiry are generally denoted by CE and PE. In this style of expiry, options can be exercised only at the specified time of expiry. 2. American-style expiry. Call options and put options following the American-style expiry are generally denoted by CA and PA. In this style of expiry, options can be exercised at any time till the specified time of expiry. The options traded in any stock exchange will follow either of these two conventions, depending on the norm in the country. For example, all options traded in India's NSE follow the European style of expiry. Basic terms used in options trading. Before getting into examples, here are explanations of the most basic terms one needs to know before getting into options trading. 1. The strike price, SP. Every options contract will have an associated strike price. This is the fixed reference price against which settlement takes place at the time the option is exercised or when the option expires. For any given stock index that is traded in the futures and options segment, there will be different options contracts corresponding to various strike prices. These strike prices are predetermined by the stock exchange in which that underlying stock is traded. For example, the stock of Infosys, the Indian IT giant, that is traded on India's NSE, has a market price of 1030 rupees at the time this book was being written, and has an entire range of associated put and call options available with strike prices such as 960, 980, 1000, 1020, 1040, etc. In the case of call options, the strike price effectively functions as the buy price, while the market price of the underlying stock functions as the sell price at the time of settlement or exercising of the options. In the case of put options, the strike price effectively functions as the sell price, while the market price of the underlying stock functions as the buy price at the time of settlement or exercising of the options. If you find this information a bit confusing, never mind. You will understand it better once you go through the two scenarios explained in Chapter 2. The lot size specifies the fixed number of units of the underlying security that one options contract covers. The lot size is usually determined by the regulatory body within the stock exchange and might vary from stock to stock. For example, the current lot size for the Indian IT company Infosys, which is traded on the Indian NSE, is 500. So any trader who buys one option of Infosys, irrespective of the type, strike price or the expiry date, holds buy-sell rights on precisely 500 shares of Infosys. If you buy one Infosys call option with a strike price of 1020, it means your contract gives you the right to buy 500 shares of Infosys at strike price of 1020. Alternately, if you buy one Infosys put option with the strike price of 1000, your contract gives you the right to sell 500 shares of Infosys at 1000. Since the lot size is fixed at 500, you cannot have an option to control only, say for example, 200 shares or 150 shares through an option. You will always be buying, selling in multiples of 500 only. The market lot sizes for stocks traded in Fando are revised by the stock exchange from time to time. Note: in the US NYSE, the lot size is standardized at 100. In other words, a single options contract entitles the options buyer to 100 shares of the underlying stock index. 3. The premium is simply the amount of money an option buyer pays per share when buying an option, or the amount of money an option seller receives per share for selling an option. The premium of an option at any point in time is dependent on using various parameters, often referred to as the options Greeks, something we will cover later on. The total cost of any options contract, therefore, will be the premium multiplied by the lot size for that underlying. For example, if the premium of an Infosys call option with strike price 1040 is 5 rupees, then the cost of that options contract is rupee 5 by 500, lot size, equals 2,500 rupees. 4. The expiry date. 5. Every single option has an expiry date. 6. Expiry of options traded in any exchange could happen on a weekly, monthly, or even quarterly basis. Nevertheless, these dates of expiry follow a rigid calendar determined by the exchange in which the options are traded. 7. For example, the options for the Bank Nifty, an index of bank stocks traded on the Indian NSE, have a weekly expiry, and any Bank Nifty option slated for expiry in a given week will always expire on the Thursday of that week. If Thursday is a holiday, expiry takes place the previous day. 8. Similarly, all monthly options traded on the Indian NSE, slated for expiry in a given month, expire on the last Thursday of that month. 9. At any point in time. There could be multiple monthly contracts available for a given stock depending on the exchange in which that stock is traded. 10. For example, stock options for any stock trading on the NSE are available for 3 consecutive trading months at any point in time. So if you are currently in the month of March 2017, any day before the last Thursday, you would be able to trade monthly options. For the months of March 2017, April 2017 and May 2017, and all these options expire on the last Thursday of their corresponding month. When the options for March 2017 expire, the 11 options for June will be made available for trading in the NSE, and so on 12. And so forth.